21 Night Raid. This plane should have more than half of the fuel, because we noticed that the first wave of Pakistani planes all dropped bombs. We didn't think this plane could have gone too far, so we aimed the nose of all the planes. 2 F-16s coming from the direction of Mian Valley. This judgment is wrong. He shot down the MiG-21. This man is a lunatic. Very sophisticated guy. He followed a MiG-21 over the border and dropped 2 of them. Goya opened his mouth and waited for roll to continue. Then he got stuck in a circle, 1 on 2, and our radar had limited downside to track the plane very well. And we ran out of fuel and medium-range missiles. However, the Falcon squadron rushed the F-16 that arrived also had a lot of fuel and superior performance AIM-120, they shot down the 3rd MiG-21, and finally verified that only 1 MiG-21 returned to the Sarsi base. Senior Director of Defense Luyad Nahan said know where it came from. Goya and Roll stopped this sad conversation. Young people, there is bad news. The recording of the program has been postponed. Now everyone is waiting for the latest announcement from the government. I believe that the war is not far away. The audience will be proud of you, and all the squadrons will target you. Also good news, the show host has been replaced by the respected Dr. Rani, and the Department of Defense believes that women cannot be interviewed heroes. Goya raised his head in surprise, he couldn't understand what kind of good news this was, and Captain Roll continued to bow his head in thought, and he didn't care who came to interview. Inside the air base in Jorbt, a busy, first wave of 4 MiG-27 UPG fighter bombers lined the runway, while another 4 were refueling and reloading. The pilots of the first attack wave have sat in the cockpit of the plane, and everyone is waiting for the Prime Minister's statement. Of course, the pilots already know that this is not a statement welcoming the United Nations investigation, it is a declaration of war. The Prime Minister's choice of this timing is, of course, a political indictment of the UN's injustice. In addition, militarily, the early hours of the morning may be a time when Pakistan's defenses are relatively paralyzed. 0:05 a.m. Lieutenant Colonel Markanda's voice appeared on the plane's communication channel. 2 minutes ago, the Prime Minister has declared a special period of war on terror. All borders have been closed, and we are in a limited period of war with Pakistan. Henhi the Shi, Hindi, Roar, operation plan has already begun, and the 29th Squadron will start operations according to the original plan. Call the leader, Scorpion number 1 request to take off. Pundit called from the cabin. The runway has been cleared, and the Scorpion squad can take off at any time. Captain Pundit put on an oxygen mask and switched the fuel switch to the body fuel, then started the engine. He waited for the engine's speed to slowly rise, and looked back at the ground crew. Pipe removed. It was time to release the brakes. The plane began to roar and turn into the runway was brightly lit, but the night sky without the stars was dark, and he didn't know what was waiting for him today. Scorpion number 1, you can take off. The captain's plane began to accelerate, his left hand left the throttle, and he pushed the variable sweep wing control lever down to the minimum 16-degree sweep angle, and the angle lock indicator light came on. The captain's left hand went back to the throttle, pushing it into the afterburner position. Even if the afterburner is turned on, the speed of the aircraft does not increase very quickly. This is because too many weapons are mounted, and it is necessary to wait patiently until the end of the runway before pulling it up. The silhouette of the MiG-27 gradually disappeared in the darkness at the end of the runway, leaving only the navigation lights at the tail and the fire from the tail vent still flashing. When the second plane entered the runway, everyone saw the flashing navigation lights leaving. On the ground, the dead plane finally pulled up. Scorpion 1, please check the main hydraulic pressure lift gauge and the wing, swept wing, status indicator. Scorpion 1 understands. Captain Pundit glanced at several instruments that must be checked after takeoff. While adjusting without instrument lighting, fighting at night is a very troublesome thing. especially for an older combat aircraft that doesn't have the HDD and advanced navigation capabilities to show the route. The captain circled the airfield for a few laps to wait for his 3 other teammates. The first attack was not a good thing for him, as he could only get the cover provided by a few older MiG-21s of the 23rd Squadron. If it happens to hit the enemy's low-altitude missile position, or the enemy's fighter jets, these MiG-21s, which cannot be guaranteed by themselves, are mostly unreliable. But as the squadron leader said, what really matters is the suddenness. Lahore is on the other side of the border, very close, and the 4th Army, which is not full of personnel, is defending this area, the only one in this army. The anti-aircraft brigade, which has been dismantled to defend very long borders, is equipped with HQ-9 missiles that can attack low-altitude aircraft at a distance far below the missile's maximum range. Scorpion No. 1 called the leader, the formation was assembled, heading 57 kilometers from the border. Scorpion Squad, no ground-to-air radar was found to be on. No early warning aircraft was found. The battle to the north has begun, and Pakistani planes are flying. Heading towards Punjab, it is moving away from us. Scorpion Squad, lower the altitude to 400 meters, attack formation, keep distance from each aircraft, and keep an eye on the rear at all times. Pundit led the other 3 MiG-27s to lower altitude. He adjusted the swept wings to the middle position and increased the speed to 500 km per hour, so that the MiG-21s of the 23rd Squadron were not flying too fast. Provide cover. I saw them, about a few kilometers to the left. Call Captain Panther. I saw you too, Captain Scorpion, we are in your 3 o'clock direction. What protection can an aircraft with short-range missiles provide, but it's better than nothing, so at least your squad won't be the only target on the enemy's radar. After approaching the border, the MiG-21 team also turned off the navigation lights, so that no one could see the other, but they all knew which side the other party was on. Pundit's team crossed the border at a low altitude. Scorpion Squad, check the site overlap. The captain has been paying attention to the Selena radar alarm on one side, but she has not responded. Whether it is because she is lucky, or this old-fashioned device doesn't work, I don't know yet.